Serious former nice guys of Reddit, when and how did you change? Hygiene is key. Get a nice haircut, dress nicer, brush your teeth, lift some weights. Take pride in yourself, and women will notice. Women aren't solely attracted to your specific smexy features, but they are attracted to your confidence and those smexy parts. If you feel that you smell and look attractive, then women will see you that way. Confidence and capability seem to be big attraction points. Now incels point to good looks and wealth as attraction points, because people who exude confidence are wealthy tend to have one or both of these traits. But they are missing the point. Their confidence and wealth extends from the effort they put in. They are confident because they worked hard at work and the gym, invested money in personal appearance, clothes, haircut, accessories, and are wealthy because they are constantly looking to better themselves. Yes, there are guys who are born ultra rich with amazing looks, but they are less than 0.01% of the population. Almost all of your success will come always aiming to improve. Honestly, last summer I went on a diet for 3 months. Fairly strict. Went to the gym, bought new clothes, got a new haircut, and even though I already have a GF, I felt much more confident when interacting with others. I knew I was capable because I had the work to back it up. I was objectively looking more attractive, and I was doing well at work. It's a great feeling, but incels don't want to believe it because they want to put in the work. It's an excuse for their own failings. It's not my fault, it's society's fault, which is par for the course in our new victimhood society. Yes, just be yourself. I'm a female and dated a few nice guys. Don't act like those guys in the movies. We have different personalities and interests. My heart isn't going to jump every time some guy loans me his jacket and think, yes, I'm going to date this guy. I'm not a girly girl. Don't do makeup, hair, or any of that jazz. And I'm not the romantic mushy type either. It's out of my comfort zone. Most of my adult life is working on male-dominated fields. For me, I just like to be treated as a normal person, or treated as one of the guys. The few nice guys I've met feel like they come across feeling entitled and blames all women instead of figuring out how to improve themselves or get to know women of interest. Be genuine and don't be upset when a nice gesture doesn't get you a girl. Not everyone will be interested in you because you believe you're nice. Being nice is doing something out of kindness/manners and not expect anything in return. Example, I hold the door for others. Sometimes I get a thank you and the person might open the next door if it's one of those entrances where you walk through 2 doors. Other times, I don't get a reply. That's fine. I got better things to do than demand a thanks for being polite. I don't let it ruin my day. Mature up, grow some confidence, be humble, and have some self-respect. Also, hygiene is also a plus. Don't need to be movie star status, but tidy up a bit to look a little more appealing. Basically, a few years ago, I really liked a girl, and she seemed to like me back. I sort of turned manipulative, but turns out she was just as bad. People always wondered what it would be like if a nice guy and nice girl got together. It's nothing but fighting and guilt. I realized how bad she was and got out of it, but in the process, found out I was no good either. I changed quick after that. This happened to me as well. I don't know what position I would be in today if I didn't break up with my then psycho girlfriend, who was a nice girl in general, but slightly crazy if you really knew her. Not the smexy kind of crazy, but crazy. What crazy stuff do nice girls get up to? If you don't love me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. But then it turns out their level best is still pretty shit. As a former nice guy TM, I'm still figuring my shwift out. I knew that my pathetic spinelessness and constant sympathy begging wasn't getting me anywhere in life, so I wanted to make a change. It came across as a complete lack in self-confidence, which was not attracting anyone. So I decided to carry myself differently, and it's helped. But like I said earlier, I'm still figuring my shit out. You should for sure be a nice person, but for the love of all that is holy, be genuinely kind. Not just nice to get what you want. Be kind to one another. Replacing the word nice with kind totally takes on a different meaning. Say 2 little siblings are fighting. What sounds better? A parent saying, be nice to one another, or be kind to one another? Saying be nice sounds like putting up a facade. Saying be kind almost has a sort of a calming effect. Say the words out loud to yourself. I find myself saying the word kind in a soft tone. Even my demeanor changes a little. My shoulders become relaxed. Kindness is the opposite of nice. Kindness, you do things without any expectation. Honestly, I grew up a bit. I was tired of always feeling that way, so I decided to grow up a little bit and start making changes to better myself. If everyone ignored me, I must be the common denominator, right? 3 years later I'm a much happier person and even my close friends had noticed the changes in my behavior. Nice guys, if you are anything like I was, you're literally making it harder on yourselves. I was never a nice guy, but I was close to one, and in many ways, have a lot of sympathy for those guys. For me, it was getting tired of being pessimistic all the time. Pessimism makes everything in your life harder. Nice guys are rooted in pessimism. Once I adopted a more positive outlook, those habits that I had largely faded away. I have sympathy for nice guys because they are making their own lives harder and don't realize it. The pessimism is a huge factor. There are other issues sometimes, but pessimism can exacerbate a lot of issues. Stopped when a friend of mine said I was basically r/guys in a nutshell. After that, it never came off my head, and I started to get more quiet and think before saying. Though I'm still ashamed of my old nice guy personality. But you've realized your mistake and matured. The fact that you're ashamed means you're growing. If you weren't ashamed or embarrassed by your past self, it would mean you weren't growing. At 38 I'm ashamed of my not so nice guy days. There are women out there that would cut off my balls given the chance. Rightfully so. Boy, 29 and part of the same club. Both clubs really, mix of nice guy and cold manipulative fanny hole. Not so much anymore, but there are a few women from my past who could smack me upside the head, and I'd admit I deserved it. I was always the guy who was flirting with every girl, and I was just socially inept. Now I'm socially inept, but more respectful and mindful of it. And how are you doing now? I did the same. I'm still alone, but having fun on my own. Lost weight because health. Got a dog. Saved money and bought a house. It's been over 5 years since the last time I flirted on real life. And every time I try less online dating sites too, feels like a waste of time and makes me sad. So I just accepted those things come naturally and live the best life I can on my own. Single since 22. I'm 33 now. The older I get, the more I accept my loneliness, but I'm not sure if that's a good thing. From the girl's perspective, if you know a guy just flirts with everyone and literally just wants a girlfriend, as opposed to you as a person, it is quite off-putting. Speaking for myself, socially inept is totally manageable mostly because I'm too though. Thanks for your insight. That's how I realized it, because a girl who was my friend kind of called me out on it, though I hurt a lot of my friendships that aren't really present entire because of my idiocy. There is a point where it kind of clicked that it can't be that it's all the women that are wrong. It followed that I assumed it was me that was wrong, which kind of hurts when you think about it. After a while I realized it at least wasn't 100% of me that was wrong. Maybe some 5% I can identify and work towards. I'm not really looking for a relationship anymore, as I'd rather work on myself for the time being. I feel it would be unfair to myself and the person I'd be with. That last sentence. As much as I want to be in a relationship, I just know that right now I would only take away from their happiness. Kinda just grew out of it when I saw being overly nice wasn't going to get me women's. Apparently talking to them like everyone else and not making a big show of a basic human kindness, lending your jacket to a chilly female friend etc will make most people like you. When you make a big spectacle of yourself about being nice, then people will see right through it. What I like about the jacket comment, as a female, is that it's so true that things like that become special moments later instead of being a transaction toward the goal in the moment. Sincerity and letting those things come naturally means someday, after being polite and not trying too hard, they may look at you well into your relationship and say, "Remember that time you lent me your jacket? That's when I knew." We don't want to be told how to feel, just to know that you're there with us having the same experience is enough. This took me a long time to learn. You can tell somebody how good you think they look again and again, and it'll never give the same impression as when they catch you looking at them with that expression on your face. So while it's cool to float things in conversation, I think you'll have a longer and happier relationship if good morning to you, love of my life is a morning vibe, not a daily mantra. Used to be kinda nice guyish, unable to understand why noon was interested. It's them, not me, I'm too nice, and so on. Had a friend online who developed feelings for me that I did not reciprocate. Saw things on the flip side and kinda realized two things. You can't change who you have feelings for, and it's very entitled to expect someone to just feel the same way, and I would not want to date myself. So working on improving myself to address the latter. In more recent times I saw a video about incels by the YouTuber ContraPoints that helped me further question my mindset. Would be curious of what current nice guys make of the video. Nat is one of my favorite YouTubers. She makes some of the best video essays. I was the worst. Totally I'm so in love with my best friend. Why is she dating that douche when she can be with me? I think as I got older and saw other guys doing it, it seemed so pathetic and sad that I just kind of snapped out of it. For the record, when I told that girl I loved her, she laughed, and that was the last time we ever saw each other. That might have helped with my transition. Yeah, can totally say I did this. Threw myself into someone who saw me as a friend for years. Finally got the balls to express my actual interest, and she had none. I was so upset I lost interest in dating more women. By that fact, women all of a sudden became interested in me when I really didn't care. After I got through that, which isn't a great place to start a relationship either, I really was more interested in taking care of myself because it was important to me. My most fruitful relationships came when I realized we enjoyed being together but didn't need each other. Meet my wife, and that's a huge aspect to build upon. We truly need each other now, but we are still our own people. We continually grow together and individually while working to grow and learn about each other as that happens. Sounds cliche, but the advice about taking care of one first really does ring true. If all you want is a relationship and only want to focus on that, why would another person be interested in you? You become interesting and can draw them in by being an individual as well. Then you get the benefits of a healthy relationship. Seems backwards, but really just a chicken and egg thing. Plus, there isn't really a way to this you can copy. It's all up to you individually. But that's what makes you neat. When I realized that the world keeps on going like it always has, no matter what negative things happen to me personally. From the start of my junior year of high school to about winter vacation of senior year, I started putting forth my energetic yet surprisingly quiet nature as a personality rather than a design flaw. I started doing things as opposed to sitting back and avoiding judgment, as if other people's opinions really mattered. Once I was able to find myself, I no longer needed to draw sympathy from everything around me. I also developed opinions, which helped me find an identity and embrace places where I remain neutral, and reinforced why I was neutral there. That one specifically helped out a ton with self-confidence. Of course, I still have my days. It sucks, but it never lasts long. Best part is, I still find time to be nice to people, as in actually kind. After all, nice guys are just the empty shells of normal guys, built on shallow reasoning and pandering to the basic needs of people, while lacking the necessary tools to keep anyone truly happy. All of that can be rewritten easily. Still a virgin though, but that stuff takes time. I've barely got a foot into college as of post-date. There is a real theme here, which is working on oneself and dropping the need for approval from others. Nice guys as just the empty shells of normal guys hit me like a brick in the gut. I don't know whether it was because I had no sisters or not. In high school, I was attracted to most girls. As such, I considered them all potential romantic partners, unless I had ruled them out for friendship, bad attitude, or some physical repulsion. This still left plenty of fish. I had major crushes constantly. I was a serial monogamist. The thing was that when I was single and asked out a crush and they turned me down, I was angry at them. Because what had I done to exclude myself from their dating pool? Shouldn't they give me a chance and see? I followed up 3 times and had to be told 3 times they didn't want to date me because they didn't like me like that. I was casting a wide net and I expected women were doing the same. I had to learn most of them didn't see men the way I saw women, and then I had to change the way I saw women. The height of my nice guyness was when I was working at a movie theater. I never really pressured anyone into giving me a chance, but I was generally friendly with everyone, and I never made enemies. Until this one girl. She worked day shift, while I worked night, so we hardly ever saw each other. But every time our schedule overlapped, she would make a point to avoid me, never talk to me, and just glare at me when she saw me. Finally, after a few months, I confronted her and asked why she didn't like me. Her response, "Not everyone has to like you," which got me thinking. At first it was a lot of thinking it wasn't fair. She didn't even know me. I wrestled with this mental block for a few weeks, basically going through the 7 stages of grief, but with this scenario. Then, when I finally accepted it, I realized that she doesn't have to like me, and I don't have to care either. After that, I got a huge self-esteem boost. What does it matter if someone thinks I'm better off being just friends? That's their opinion, and I don't have to care. I can stay friends and find romance elsewhere. Eventually, I did find my soulmate. We are happily married, have been for 3 years. We've never had what we would call a fight, but a few disagreements did happen. I break my own rule with her, though, because I definitely care what she thinks of me. Basically, a few years ago, I really liked a girl, and she seemed to like me back. I sort of turned manipulative, but turns out she was just as bad. People always wondered what it would be like if a nice guy and nice girl got together. It's nothing but fighting and guilt. I realized how bad she was and got out of it, but in the process, found out I was no good either. I changed quick after that. This happened to me as well. I don't know what position I would be in today if I didn't break up with my then psycho girlfriend, who was a nice girl in general, but slightly crazy if you really knew her. Not the sexy kind of crazy, but crazy crazy. Understanding that no one really owes you anything. Finding out that is easier and cheaper to be kind to yourself. Politeness and respect for everyone, but don't be a doormat. No one is running around trying to put hard dicks down for free, so you don't need to worry about going around trying to put out fires. Putting nice energy into usefulness can get you big wins. It is generally better for men to be useful than to be nice, but it does not mean that you should be a domineering asshole. It is still good to be fair to people. I hope Nasegui's read that first sentence and listen. I was told that if you're a nice guy only to get laid, you aren't really nice and more of a suck up loser who expects rewards for being a decent human being. Ugh. My brother-in-law is like this. He got a girl's number, then flipped shit because she didn't want to date him and told her she was wasting his time. He's a nice guy who only sees women as objects and doesn't see them as people. He's not that attractive and only finds girls who look like porn stars attractive. He refuses to go for anyone else, claiming he has standards. He's had various girls who are his friend have an interest in him, but because they are brunette and chubby he turns them down. They have to be blonde, perfect body, big boobs. I've tried to talk to him about his view, but nothing helps, and I'm afraid he's going to end up alone and blaming everyone else. What a sad little man he must be. Maybe if he quit porn and got some actual hobbies and worked on bettering himself, he will be able to understand what it means to be in a loving relationship. At his rate he'll end up having a really buff right arm, so maybe he could take up going gym and get the other one to catch up. I'm going to copy and paste my previous response to a similar question. Watching The Hunchback of Notre Dame, I found myself rooting for Quasimodo through the movie, and when he didn't get with Esmeralda, I was mad. Furious. He deserves to be with her for how noble and brave he has been. He should have her, and she should give him a chance. Then, I don't know why, but something clicked after that thought. Esmeralda clearly was happy with the other guy. I mentally flipped the script and realized I would not be saying the same if Quasi is handsome and Esmeralda was ugly. I also realized that Judge Frollo was the character who most shared my mindset at the time. He deserves Esmeralda, for he is so pure and good. Frollo being the antagonist caused me to really reconsider my thoughts on relationships, girls, and generally just the way I treated women. That was 10th grade, and while I don't have a girlfriend as a college sophomore, it doesn't bother me like it would have if I had continued down that course. Not much has changed in the 7 months that passed since I made that comment. Still no luck with relationships, but I'm trying to find new ways to improve myself. Most of my friends are girls, and the most advice I've gotten is be yourself. I do fear that I come off as a nice guy at times, since I tend to be polite and compassionate, but I think I'm comfortable with who I am. I don't expect a relationship to fall from the sky, nor do I expect anything just for being nice. But when I confide in friends about my frustrations, I worry that I come off as what I once was. The taking care of yourself thing is important and can sometimes take a big push to actually implement. In high school and into college I used to think it was disgustingly vain to care about things like if your clothes fit right / looked nice, if you had a haircut that fit your face, if you worked out, etc. And it took years to realize that this was still an outlook that depended on how others thought about me. It felt like the last puzzle piece of self-esteem and self-actualizing falling into place when it flipped to I deserve to feel good about how I look as much as I deserve to feel good about who I'm as a person. Yes, you absolutely deserve to feel good about yourself as a person. Another part of taking care of yourself is taking care of your belongings and surroundings. Keep your clothes tidy. Wash and vacuum your car if it's nasty. Change your sheets every week or two. Be a good roommate to yourself if you live alone, and put your trash directly into a garbage can and wash up after every meal. Stuff like that. Messy bed, messy head is very true for me. I'm much more relaxed in my space when it's clean. I'm used to conversations about nice guys TM revolving around the understanding they are misogynists that view themselves as nice and their behavior as ensuring they deserve attention. That lots of people in this thread seem to think they are actually nice, but somewhat weak-willed, and using an ineffective dating tactic has been eye-opening. It's complicated, like most things in life. As someone who was a nice guy in high school in a lot of respects, I was genuinely polite, and I sought no evil as a general rule. I wasn't an aggressor in most cases, and I tried to defend people who couldn't defend themselves. I think it's entirely possible to be a mostly decent human being, but still fail to empathize with women, with their needs/wants/ romantic inclinations, and to be shitty when you're rejected romantically. People are varying degrees of shitty. Some of them just get pouty and cringy when they're single for too long, bemoaning how dateable they think they are. Others have no concept of physical boundaries, and others willfully mislead people on their motivations, which are explicitly selfish. For example, while a lot of nice guys are strictly misogynists, I don't really think I was ever one, just an idiot who lacked awareness in the power of his own words and actions. I don't remember what put the thought in my head, or how I came to the conclusion, but my thought was, I want all these women. They don't seem to want me. Maybe I should focus on being the kind of guy they actually want, instead of the one I think they want. I ended up ditching the part where I was bettering myself to get women, and just focused on bettering myself. School, career, hygiene, living situation, and women coincidentally became more interested. Man, I need to forward this to a friend. I genuinely care for him, but he's way too deep in his nice guy mode, and I'm afraid he'll inch towards the incel people. He's constantly complaining about no one is interested in him, and he tried everything, whether it's paying for dinners, messaging more frequently, dressing differently. I told him a million times, it's about bettering himself and making himself a more interesting person. He thinks that'll be wasting the time he could be securing the right person. Really can't convince him. I watched my husband's BFF go down the incel route fast. In the end he verbally and nearly physically assaulted me because I wasn't saying what he wanted to hear about all women. I was so scared I didn't get to tell him the reason why he can't get laid is because A, he's 200 pounds overweight, B, he doesn't bathe, C, his car smells like ass, and D, he has never, that I could tell, cleaned his apartment. E, he can't hold a job because of A through D. I mean, take a freaking bath. FFS. Why isn't that the first thing you consider? You want me, or any other woman, to fuck you without you having bathed first. WTF. Anyway, rant over. Because women, and probably even other men, are just peripheral bit players in the grand drama of his life. The world, good or bad, revolves around him and his feelings of loneliness and rage. Just peripheral bit players. Do incels view women as NPCs in the MMORPG that is life? This, my take, which is a little different than nice guy. I'm gay. I'm not. Nice guy but always had dating troubles. When I did get involved, the relationships were terrible. My reactions, worse. I realized one day, I wouldn't date me. I was an odd blend of outward ego and inside insecurity. I wasn't responsible in many ways. Simply put, the type of guy who wanted a relationship like I did wasn't gonna go for someone like me. I took time off from dating and focused on improving myself. It eventually worked. I've been with the same guy 15 years, married 10. Your point about being the person someone who wants a relationship would find compelling is spot on. You don't have to be nice, desperate, super hot. I'm not. Hubby isn't as socially interesting. Men and women hit on him constantly. Wealthy. Those aren't the points. Compelling, interesting, mature, put together. I took time off from dating and focused on improving myself. It eventually worked. I've been with the same guy 15 years, married 10. This made me smile. Okay guys, don't forget to hit that sub button, also ring that shiny